Well, welcome back to Dunkirk Dunes. So, I'm going to go ahead and do US turn 1 of this BBR5 game that we're playing. So, US is not at war. They have not been brought into the war yet. So, this will probably be a pretty short turn and not very exciting. So, anyway, here's so US had 52, of course, to spend. And here's what I'm going to go ahead and get. I've spent 4 on technology advancement, 12 for a strategic bomber, and then 3 tactical bombers for 11 each. And that lets me save 3. I've got 3 left of the 52. So all I'm going to be doing is non-combat movements because there's nothing else to be done here. So the destroyer and submarine that start out here in Sea Zone 35 off the Philippines, they're leaving from a naval base, and they're going to go 1, 2, 3 here into Sea Zone 41. Getting away from the Japanese. Okay. Let's see what else we got going on here. So, okay, this transport here that's in Sea Zone 10 is going to go ahead and pick up an infantry and artillery from Western U.S., and it's going to move here into Sea Zone 26 and drop off that infantry and artillery into Hawaii. Okay, that takes care of that. And then, let's see, other non-combat movement. This transport that starts out here in 26 is going to go back to Sea Zone 10 with nothing. It's just empty going back there, so it can eventually grab some stuff. Let's see, these ships that are here in Sea Zone 26 that start there, they're just going to stay. I do have one little non-combat here. So one of the infantry that's starting in Western U.S. is actually going to walk to the east into Central U.S. Okay, put them right here, Central U.S. This strategic bomber that begins here in Central U.S., I'm going to designate it as an air transport, okay? And he's going to pick up the guy, one infantry that's already in Central U.S. So the way you'll remember air transports, the way they work in BBR, is I can pick up to 2 infantry, but they have to be starting in the territory where the air transport strategic bomber began. So there was only one guy here to begin with in Central U.S., so I can just take the one. So I'm going to pick him up, and we're going to fly west. So it's 1 into Western U.S., 2, 3, 4, 5, and he's going to land and unload that single infantry that he brought with him into Hawaii. And this is now an air transport. So I'm marking it with the the marker there that's underneath him. So he's an air transport. For the rest of till his turn comes around again, and then he reverts back. Let's see. Okay, so I think that takes care of everything there. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Not moving anything else here. Okay, so I am going to take The tank that starts out here in central U.S. is just going to go ahead and drive over here to western U.S. And the infantry and artillery that start out in eastern U.S., I'm going to rail them. So I can rail them. Again, the way the integrated rail works in BBR is anywhere where you have a factory, you can rail this number of units. So it's 20, it's super high. But they can rail 3 spaces. So I'm just going to rail them 2, but from eastern across central, and then they're going to end up here in western U.S. Okay. So that takes care of that. Take all these little marker reminders off here. And I think I've moved everything I intended to move. Let's see. Just thinking if I want to leave my fighter there in Philippines. I think I am going to leave it there for now. I'm not going to pull that out. So I think that's it. I think I've moved everything I intend to move for the U.S. So I'm going to go ahead and place these new units that I bought. So this is a beautiful B-26 that John Hoffman painted. John is playing Germany and also Italy, but my grandpa flew B-26s during the Second World War, and so this is a fun one for me to have. But the B-26, I'm going to go ahead and build that in central U.S. Okay. And let's see. Actually, I'm going to change something that I did. Maybe it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's okay. Okay, and then the other builds I've got, so I've got these 3 tacticals, and I can build 3 units in western U.S., and that's what I'm doing, is I'm going to build 3 tacticals here in western U.S. So I think that does it. I'm not at war, of course, so I'm just going to collect the same 52 that I had before, but I saved 3, so I will end up with 55 total. So right here, this was 52, but I saved 3, so here's my 55. Okay, so let me just do disposition of forces here so you guys can make sure that your board is exactly the same as mine. So western U.S., I've got 1 infantry, 1 mech, 1 artillery, 1 tank, 2 AAA, 1 fighter, and 3 tacticals. That's in western U.S. In C-Zone 10, I have, okay, C-Zone 10, I've got a battleship, a carrier with a fighter and a tactical on it. I've got a transport, a destroyer, and a cruiser. In C-Zone 26, I've got a transport, a cruiser, a sub, and a destroyer. And then on the island of Hawaii, I have 4 infantry, 1 artillery, 2 fighters, and 1 air transport. Moving over here, So in the Philippines, I have 2 infantry and 1 fighter. In C-Zone 41, I have a destroyer and a submarine. Moving over the rest of the board here. So C-Zone 101, I've got a transport and a cruiser. And in Eastern U.S., I have 2 AA guns and a fighter. And then in Central U.S., I have 3 mechs, and there's also an infantry and 1 strategic bomber there. And that should do it for U.S. I will go ahead and do China next. Okay, so I think we're ready to go ahead and do China here. So China had 12 to spend, of course, because that's what they start with. So here's my 12. I'm just going to go ahead and buy 4 infantry, which is pretty much the only thing I can buy because the Burma Road is currently closed. And I don't really want to save it. I want to spend it. So there you go. Attacks. So here's what I'm going to do. So again, this is one unique thing about BBR is China has cavalry. They can have 3 cavalry at a time in play. And so I'm going to send 1 cavalry that started here in Suiyan. He's going to go into Chahar. And then the 2 infantry that are here in Suiyan are also going to go into Chahar. And I'm going to send my flying tigers here that starts out in Sichuan. He's going to go 1, 2, let's see, 1, 2, 3. So he's got 1 left. He's going to join that battle in Chahar. And then I'm also going to send, let's see, I'm wondering what I want to do with this cavalry. Do I send him north or do I send him south? I think I'm going to go ahead and send him north, just like I've got marked here. So cavalry can move 2. And I believe they can also blitz. You could double check that, but they can move 2. So he's going to go 1, 2 into that battle in Chahar. And then this battle here in Yunnan. So I've got the 6 infantry that are in Sichuan are coming in. The 2 infantry from Quichao are coming in. And then the 1 remaining cavalry from Sichuan is also going to join that battle for Yunnan. Okay, so that is all the combats. There's just 2 for China. And maybe I'll roll... Which one do I want to do first? Maybe I'll go ahead and do Chahar first. So cavalry attack at a 2. Okay, so I've got 2 cavalry there that are going to attack at a 2. And then I've also got 2 infantry that are each going to attack at a 1. And then I've got my flying tiger that attacks at a 3. So I've got 2 2s and 2 1s and a 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, yep, 5 units. And the dice that I'm using, these particular hit dice. So these black dice are 1s. They just have 1 on them. The green dice are 2s. They just have 2 hit marks on them. The blue dice are 3s. They've got 3 hit marks on them. And then the reds are 4. So there you go. That's what I'm using here for my hit dice. So here we go. Let's see if I can set this up so that you can see where I'm rolling. I think that's all in. Okay, so I'm just trying to get 3 hits here. There are 3 defenders. Okay, I got 3 hits. I think you can see those there. So 1, 2, 3. That's all I needed. Okay, So for the defense, you've got 2 infantry and an artillery. You'll notice here, defending in Chahar, 2 infantry and an artillery. So I'm going to go ahead and put the camera here again. So here's your defense, 3 at 2. Okay, they're all misses. Lucky for me. Okay, so that takes care of Chahar. That was lucky. Okay, so we're going to take off the artillery and the 2 infantry. Okay, now let's go down here to Yunnan. Hopefully I'm just as lucky here, but we shall see. Okay, so here I've got only 1, 2, because I just have 1 cavalry, and then I've got a whole bunch of 1s. I've got, I think, 8 attacking infantry. So let me pull out, let's see, 8 dice. There's 8 1s and 1 2. Okay, so again, here's where we're rolling. Okay, so I've got 8 1s and 1 2 attacking, and I need 2 hits. There's a Japanese defending artillery and infantry. Okay, lucky me. There are 2 hits there. Okay, so I got the 2 hits that I need, but the defenders do get to return fire. So there's 2 at 2 defending an artillery and an infantry. So here's the defense. Okay, there's 1 hit there. So I'm going to just go ahead and lose 1 infantry. Okay. And the Japanese units are gone. Actually, you know what? No, I will use... I was thinking about whether maybe I want to lose cavalry instead of infantry, because cavalry only defend at a 1. But I'm going to go ahead and lose... the infantry instead. So, you know what? I pulled off 1 chip that I should not have, because I had 8 infantry, and now I've got 7 infantry. And I still have the cavalry. Okay, so let's do... So that's going to come off of Japan, and that's going to come off of Japan. So on the income tracker, that's going to move China up to 10, and Japan is going to go down from 30 down to 28. Okay, because those 2 territories, each worth 1. Okay, and then I have non-combat and then place units. So I got to land my fighter, and I'm going to land him here in Suian. I only had 1 left. I'm going to move, let's see. I think what I'll do is I'll move this guy that was in Shenxi, I'll move him into Quichao. These guys are all, they can't move because they were involved in the combat. Okay, so then it's just a matter of placing my new units. So I think I will go ahead and place 1 up here in Suian. And where do I want to place the other 3? Do I want to put them in Yunnan or Sichuan? Or maybe even Chahar? I think I'll put 1 here in Hopei. And I think I'm going to put 1 here in Sichuan. And I'll put my last remaining one. I will put in Yunnan. Okay. So, disposition of forces. So, in Chahar, I have 2 cavalry and 2 infantry. In Suiyan, I've got the Flying Tiger and 1 infantry. In Hupei, I've got 1 infantry. In Quichao, I've got 1 infantry. In Sichuan, I've got 1 infantry. And in Yunnan, I've got, that's 6, 7, 8 infantry plus 1 cavalry. And so that should do it for China. There are 10 on the income tracker, so I'm going to collect 10. I'll go ahead and put that in China's coffers. And that should do it for China. So next up will be UK. I thought I would just highlight a few of the different 3D printed pieces that we're working on. So this right here, this is a 3D print of the Texas. Brother Pius is a big fan of that one because he's from Texas. And then these are 3D prints. These are from Axis and Allies BoardGaming.com. There's the Lexington and the Yorktown, the Wasp, and the Hornet. Just some of these that we're working on. Here's 4 different classes of U.S. destroyers, 3D prints. Again, these are from Axis and Allies BoardGaming.com. But this first one, this is a Fletcher. And then these other 3, one of them is a Mahon, one's a Somers, and the other one is a Sims class destroyer. So those are a lot of fun. Here's some Chinese units that we've been working on. So these here, this is Chinese cavalry. The sculpts themselves, they're from HBG. There's the stock number right there, you can see. But these were painted by a fellow by the name of Christian Wobbs, who lives in Ireland, who's been helping us paint some of these infantry and cavalry. And then these ones, these are 3D printed Chinese infantry that Christian has also done. So thanks for watching. On to UK will be next.